This year's Computex coverage is sponsored by Corsair.
Hey, what is up guys? How are we doing? And welcome back to Computex 2018 for some Corsair coverage. We're at their booth and we're looking at cases, RGB RAM and power supplies. So what we have here is the 280X. It is a brand new case. It's micro ATX as well, which means that we're finally getting some small builds that are going to be very, very compact. So we don't actually see micro ATX all that often. This 280X is part of the Crystal series, so we have tempered glass on the side, the top, and on the front. There's plenty of support for pretty much everything you would want to put in here as well. 280mm radiators are supported at the bottom, at the top, 240 at the front, and then a 120 on the rear. Well, what you've probably noticed is that we've got a dual chamber design. So on this side, we have the chamber you can see, which is not only going to give you better airflow, but it's also going to give you a much cleaner design and a much better looking build. Moving around to the other side, this is where things get very interesting indeed, because we have that other chamber. And you can see that there's loads of space here for cables, and you don't really need to worry about managing them all that well, because they're going to fit and you're not going to see them. We've got support for an extra long power supply if you're going for a very high-end system, room for 2 hard drives and 3 SSDs. Now another case to talk about is the 500D SE, and we did see this earlier at CES, but this is the final revision. So sadly the front panel is flat. They did have it curved before, but I think they just were having a few issues with the glass. It's not really something that's a huge concern to me. It still looks awesome, but I'm sure some people will maybe see that as a little bit of a missed opportunity. But what you do get for the $100 price premium with the SE version is 3 LL fans and then a Commander Pro. So if you're wanting something that looks super premium, this may well be the way you want to go. But what they're also showing off is the new iCUE system that links everything in this case with your peripherals. But going further than that, it also works with games, and this is Far Cry 5. You can see when we get into the menu system, it goes like America colors, and then when we actually enter in the game, the whole thing will change depending on what's going on screen. And iCUE doesn't just have to work with games. You can set everything to pretty much do whatever you want, so that you have reactive lighting based on what's going on your system with your components. So this could be as simple as turning on a movie and then the whole lighting will completely disappear, or something a lot more complex like we have here with Far Cry, where everything is contextual to the game you're playing. At the moment it is only Far Cry 5, but they say they're working with Ubisoft, so we've got more games coming and other developers hopefully should follow. Moving to the other side of the room, unbelievably we don't have RGB. Instead we have power supplies. Here we have the SF600, the SF450, and then some new Vengeance power supplies. Vengeance is actually new. We haven't seen this before. You may have heard of the brand. We've got the Vengeance RGB RAM and things like that, but this is the first time we've seen it in power supplies. So these are sort of lower mid-range, if that actually makes any sense, power supplies that are going to give you a good looking build, but not anything that's super high end. It gives you a good, reliable power supply without you relying on spending a load more money for something you may not want or need. And then over here we've got the SF series of power supplies. These have been updated. They've now got platinum rating efficiency, which is going to save you a little bit of money on your bills. They come with the ATX bracket, so you can put this in a full-size system. And they've upgraded the cables as well, because now they come braided as standard, which is really nice to see. And they look really, really good, and you won't need to reach out and get any expensive cable kits. Now, something you've almost certainly caught across the room and in some of those builds already is the brand new RAM that they're showing off. So before we had the Vengeance RGB, this is the Pro version, which is going to sit alongside the older SKU, but this is way brighter. It was playing havoc with my camera when I was filming the B-roll earlier. This thing is incredibly bright. It's 50% brighter than before. If we didn't need any more flashy lights in our system, we've now got them. But it does look really good. It's very tasteful as well, because of course the effects you will be controlling yourself. You can sync it with the rest of your system, as we've just seen. But also they've not forgotten about usability, because now one thing we have with this that we don't have on their competitors is that you can actually select which DIMM each slot is in. So if your motherboard maybe has slightly different DIMMs, you can say, no, this stick is actually there, and you can get the effects to work across in order, or the way you would expect. And you can also reverse the order of the lighting as well if you do want something a little bit different. And there's just way more control now than you had before. Speeds and kits, I will need to grab this, otherwise I will say it wrong, and we don't want that, what do we? Configuration is up to a 8x16GB kit, which is pretty crazy. Speeds from 2666 to 4000 megahertz. Early July for the even faster kits, up to 4700. Memory is sort of there. But this has been the Corsair coverage. I hope you've enjoyed what they've got on offer. I think we're going to have to do some builds and some of this stuff very, very soon. Let me know what you'd like to see first, the 500D SE or the 280X. Let me know down in the comments section below. Get subscribed for more Computex coverage. You can find the playlist in the end screen cards. And of course, a massive thank you to Corsair for actually sponsoring the coverage and taking us out here. But a massive thank you, and I'll see you next time.